you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's speak to more governorship candidates in the Lagos governorship race. Joining us, the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Agbero-Free Rhodes-Vivour. He's being in traffic, trying to make his way to the Lagos studio. But I understand that he's been caught in that traffic gridlock. But he's with us in his vehicle virtually. Thank you so much, GRV, for joining us tonight. It's just a few days before the governorship race. Can you tell us, why should Lagosians vote for you on Saturday?
Well, because we are offering a very unique proposition. We are offering a Lagos that's going to work for the people and is centered around transparency and accountability. A Lagos in which innovation will be the key guiding principles, and it's a Lagos of platforms that will be able to deliver dividends of democracy for the people of Lagos. And its development will not be tied to the purse strings of the state, because we're running an open government, transparent government that is solely focused on gaining back the trust of the people and industries and the private sector in government. So these are some of the reasons. We're also going to ensure that we have a Lagos that is #1 in terms of ease of doing business. We have a Lagos that actual waste management happens in, not the current situation of picking and dumping, and the waste management system that's domiciled at the local government level. We're also looking to ensure that we have a robust local government system that's manned by people that are potential governors, visionaries, and people that love their people and are committed to creating the best local government and delivering the best possible services. And we also have a Lagos that will be free from the Agbero situation, because we'll convert these young men that are wasting their lives away on the streets, gaining 120 billion every year for some unknown person that's not accounted for, and we'll give them skills and abilities that will allow them to be productive members of society. So these are some of the reasons why we're looking to get the votes of the people of Lagos on Saturday.
So what capacity do you bring to the table, for example? Do you have what it takes to govern a state as Lagos State? Did you get that?
No, I cannot.
Okay, so the question is, do you have the capacity? What kind of track record do you bring to the table to earn the votes of the people of Lagos? Did you get that? I know this is one thing that we needed to prepare ourselves for. But just in a moment, before Agbero-Free Rhodes-Vivour get back on the line with us, we will be hoping that you were able to get back with us. But let's cross to the candidate of the PDP, Mr. Jide Adediran, who joins us virtually also from his office in the Ikeja area. Thank you so much, Mr. Adediran, popularly called Jandor. The manner in which I'm asking the question, because we're in the final lap to this election, the final week, and the people of Lagos will know why they should vote for you. Can you tell us why they should look in your direction?
Yeah, thank you very much, Jim. You see, before you can profile a solution to a problem, you must first have a full understanding of that problem. So for us, we have observed in the state of Lagos that everybody who has come to that office to govern the state of Lagos never prepared to govern, never envisioned to be in office. So it's a story of somebody just unpick someone who never prepared to be in office and say, you go and sit down there, so that that person can be eternally be at the mercy of the man who has chosen him. So having realized this 7 years ago, going to 8 years now, we started going around everywhere in the state of Lagos so that we can first have a full understanding of the state of our state, visiting all the entire local government and expressing, our can-do ability to say, for the first time, can we have a governor that all of us would have known, would have related with, and aside from the one that is going to be pronounced to us, that regular 6 months, 7 months election that you see everybody coming up. So for us, we are not an accidental candidate. We've been on this for a very long time. Now, we've seen that type of selection choices, which is mainly of one man, are taking a toll on the state of infrastructure in Lagos State. And there is no how you want to govern a state that you don't know. That is the problem that we have today. So we have expressed enough readiness for the past 7 years to say, you know what, we can change things, we can do things differently. And I'm sure you must have heard, I'm not just coming from nowhere. I cut my teeth in the establishment of government of Lagos State, aside the fact that I was a consultant in that corridor. You must have listened to the former governor. I mean, at least he alluded to something that for 8 years I was following up and about. It really does not matter in what capacity. But that's to say to you how much closely I have worked in that corridor and major sectors in that office.
So Mr. Jandor, I mean, the question is, if you are going to employ a CEO for a company that has the revenue size of Lagos State, it has to be somebody who has a track record, the educational and the pedigree to probably run that kind of organization before. The question is, do you have the capacity and what track record do you bring to the table to run a Lagos that is perhaps the 5th largest economy on the continent?
Okay, so I think I'm one of the, I'm just one out of the candidates who have had opportunity to have experience both in public and private sector. I cut my teeth in the public sector, and when it was time, I decided to go and set up a business of myself. Everybody know me to be a media consultant, okay? And I have masters in new media and information management from prestigious Rhodes-Vivour University in Vienna. So this is where I am. And like I said, I have worked closely in that office, especially in the office of Governor of Lagos as a consultant for good 8 years. So cumulatively, I have been in that corridor for about 15 years, if you have to put them together, doing what? Understudying a whole lot, governance, even politics. I'm able to do what I'm doing today because I have a full understanding of what it takes, first, to take the power off them. Secondly, when we get it, to do things differently. This is what we are bringing to the table. Like I said, whatever it is Jandor brand has achieved today, we have done that on our own merit. We're not an accidental candidate. I don't know if you understand, not riding on any wave. We've come a long way. Everybody knows about Lagos for Lagos. We fought the hegemony within their party. We imploded it and brought it to PDP.
I mean, Mr. Jandor, Mr. Dediron, if anything, if one will have to consider the election of Saturday, can you hear me now? Yeah. If one is to consider the outcome of the election in Lagos last Saturday, which in some way displaced your party that used to be a major opposition to the APC in Lagos State, where lies the fate of your party if you look at the performance of a Labour Party, for example? We seem to be having issues with the connection there. I mean, speaking with the candidate of the PDP, Jide Adediran, for the Lagos State governorship race. And of course, I understand that he's back with us. So if you can hear me, what I was trying to ask you is, the PDP, where you have their mandate and where you flying the flag of the party in that race, as always in the past years, being a major opposition party in Lagos State. But now, going into, if you look at the result of the election of Saturday, your party came a distant third. If you go by that result, does the Labour Party, for example, give you any kind of jitter?
No. If you look at what happened last week, it was very unusual, in our political space. Everybody that voted in that election voted for Peter Obi, that personality for Peter Obi. A lot of people flew into the country to vote for Peter Obi and return back. And if you look at that, if you have done the analysis of the votes, for instance, you will see that majority of these votes for Peter Obi, they were traditional PDP voters, that have always been voting for PDP. And we have three candidates, on that election. What played out in that election? Religion played out, ethnicity played out, because the third person, which is our own candidate, have little of his own ethnic people here in Lagos. So the majority of the people that deposited that vote for Peter Obi were PDP traditional voters, especially in Lagos West. So if you look at the results, from Peter Obi's 582,000 votes, our own senatorial candidate, who was on the same ballot with Peter Obi, got 385,000 from that in Lagos West. The entire 180 something is shared between the central and the east. I don't know if you understand. So election that we're going to have on Saturday, Peter Obi is not on the ballot. It's not going to be the same thing. Banky W, our candidate, lost election in Etiosa, not to the guy that won. He lost to Peter Obi, just like every other person. So it is so difficult for anybody to now see there is a wave.
So, but how are you sure, Jide, that the voters that voted for Peter Obi will not do the same for the candidate of the Labour Party? You've been hearing Labour Party candidate Peter Obi saying that people should come out, and it seems that his message resonates with those who came out to vote for him. I mean, you understand, you being in the APC before now, some of the strongholds of the APC in Lagos have been broken by the wave of Peter Obi's coming into the sphere.
So I have said this thing to you, Sheon. You've been covering this space for a very long time, and you can analyze when you see those that give Peter Obi votes. Majority of them are elites, okay, and the people of Igbo extraction who are traditionally PDP. In fact, they are PDP, politicians. As a matter of fact, 4 days before that election, we're in Alaba Trade Fair appealing to them to see reasons why they have to vote for a candidate. They said to us that, look, March 11th is your day. Leave us to follow our brother and all of this. And immediately after that election, they call us on Monday to say, okay, we have had our say, but this time, this is what we have to do to come back to our base and do what we need to do. Okay, so like I keep saying, if you look at the entire indigenous local government in Lagos State, Tinubu won them. And I want to say to you, from Tinubu's 572,000 votes, we have our own votes. I have a vote inside that 570,000 because the vote that were given to him in all of this indigenous local government, they just feel like, okay, it's our own, let us do it. And this election will be the same thing because it is also our own, and people are ready to give the votes to their own. Okay, and the PDP traditional voters who are the Igbo extraction, they are back because they want to take Lagos. It's not just enough to have their say. They want to have their way. And the only way they can have their way is to put their best foot forward and say, who among these candidates can actually win for us? Okay, we've been campaigning. I have been to the entire 245 wards in the state of Lagos. Sheon, in those places that nobody has ever been governor into some of these places. We have our votes in all of those places because they've never seen somebody want to be governor before. What they see is a poster. Those are our traditional voters. They're giving it to us. It is only us that APC in Lagos State were running after on the street of Lagos, attacking here and there. Why do you think they were doing that? It's because they've seen us to be a major threat.
Yeah. I asked you a question because what happened, you may have had a sale behind you in the last few months, but between Saturday and now, things may have changed. But let me ask you, fundamentally, going into this race is not only about winning. It's about the actual business of governing Lagos. Let's take one sector, one after the other. Let's begin with the economy. Lagos State has a huge potential in its economy. What is one thing that you think is fundamental to changing the dynamics of Lagos economy? What is your vision?
Okay, so we have a very good potential economically in the state of Lagos. But what is hindering this is what we call the monopoly of just one person want to do everything. We've seen that in all sectors of our economy. We've seen that in outdoor. Let me give an example. This election season is when you see that sector of our economy making huge amounts of money in outdoor. And this particular time, the government of Lagos instructed all outdoor owners, aside the fact that each chunk of this reside in the hands of the godfather of Lagos, of his son, you understand? But the rest, they instructed them, do not take material from PDP, do not take material from anybody. Everything that must be in your space should just be APC. Not minding the fact that these people will be losing money, people will be losing jobs, because this is a season when they should be making money. So what we are going to do differently is to ensure that we open the space economically. Does it worry you, Sheung, that we have 180-kilometer waterfront in Lagos, coastal line in Lagos, and it's hard us to invite organized private sector from anywhere in the world to say, you know what, come and give us a Miami-like waterfront, so that we can have what we call MICE, in tourism that will make people to come, which is center for meeting, international conferences, exhibition, and all of that. You can have this one without spending fortune into it. Today, Sheung, we have 1.5 million Lagosians between 2022 January and December falling out of tax net of Lagos from 4.5 to 3 million people, which shows that people have lost their jobs. They can't continue to pay again. Does it worry you that in this Lagos we have companies taking flights from here, not to abroad, taking flight to neighboring state of Ogun State? I don't know if you understand. That speaks to the fact that there is no ease of doing business in the state of Lagos, despite the fact that the market is there. So when we come, we're going to open up the economy.
Sorry, apologies to butt in. What is your target? Because as a CEO of a state like Lagos, you must have a target. I mean, you have put forward a roadmap on what you want to achieve. Do you have a target? Do you have a timeline? How much of revenue can you generate every year? How many jobs do you hope to generate? These are the little things, or the things that Lagosians would like to hear, that can propel them to look in your direction on Saturday.
So we have capacity in the state of Lagos to generate over 100 billion naira on a monthly basis. What do we need to do? There's a lot of money in the informal sector, OKR and all of this. All you need to do is to provide an incentive to see how you can migrate this sector from informal to formal. By so doing, they will open up an economy, because if you really want to do this, you must look at the MSMEs. You understand? That is the larger, where you have the larger percentage of employer of labor. If you look at them with incentive, they'll be able to employ more people, you'll be able to generate more money. What we have now is that we have 10 people paying for 100 people. No, if you're able to open an economy and allow people to come and play the economy, you have 200 people and there won't be multiple taxation. So you can take the money of 10 people from 200 people. And at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation for everybody.
So do you have a target? I mean, Jide, sorry,
yes,
I'm asking for a target, because you should have a target. Do you have?
I just told you we have capacity to make 100 billion naira on a monthly basis. And in our very first 3 months, we will report this to say, you know what, in our fiscal policy, for the first full year fiscal policy of 2024, we will give you a budget with minimal deficit that would inform us going to borrowing. I don't know if you understand. By raising enough money, by blocking loopholes, by ensuring that the money of Lagos work for the people of Lagos. Today we have a budget of 2023 with over 300 billion naira deficit, despite the fact that we have 797 billion naira local debt already on our neck. If you add that to it, without putting the foreign exposure, we'll be going to about 108 trillion as this is. So we need to quickly close this gap. And how do we need to do it? We have to be very, very prudent in our spending. We have to invest more in capital projects as against with current.
What kind of projects are you looking at in terms of capital spendings? If you are trying to introduce projects, new capital projects.
With the wealth of Lagos today, we should have iconic road infrastructure and bridges in Lagos. You don't need anybody to keep telling you Lagos is rich, and what we hear is that Lagos is a rich state. We need to see that wealth on the street of Lagos. And instead of Lagos, when you go to Dubai, you don't need anybody to tell you Dubai is rich. The moment you enter Dubai, you know this is rich. You don't even need to ask for their bank balance. But in Lagos, it's only what we hear. So we're going to be deliberate in ensuring that first, we will open up the space. Let me give one example. In terms of transportation, I've said this over and over again. If you want to decongest the CBD, the Lagos Central Business District, you will start from the number of people that goes on the third mainland bridge in the morning from the mainland. What are we going to do? If you watch on your left side, you see an expanse of land on Ogoroshoki. We are going to build a park and ride there and dredge that water all the way. And we'll come up with a policy. If you are the only one in your car, you are not going on the third mainland bridge. You have to go and park in that place and join ferry to take you to the CBD. That will reduce the number of people we have within the CBD. That will remove the number of people we have on the third mainland bridge. That will ease traffic, without spending fortune. All we need to do is to call on private sector to say, I have an opportunity.
So Jide, so apologies to Biden. So the more Lagos is prospering, the more you have people moving into the city. And that in itself is a plus, because it's an attraction that people are moving into Lagos. But how do you deal with that kind of situation?
We just have to decentralize development. That's it.
How?
We just have to, yes, if you know, as we speak, everybody wants to come to the center. I'll give you an example. When Ikeja City Mall came up years back, you understand, I saw people coming from Alagbado, coming from Yanopaja, Ebeda, and the likes, coming to the mall. And that mall closes at 9 p.m. So when mall closes, these people won't leave. And some of them started creating what you call threats around that area. Solution to that is that give them their own mall where they are.
Oh, there. Another frozen frame scenario there with Judy Adedoran's connection, but hopefully when it returns, we might be. Okay, please go ahead quickly so I can push the last question to you.
What I'm saying is, if we decentralize, everybody stays wherever they are. That infrastructure, whatever it is they need, is you don't need to come to. So we will look at the east, we will look at the west, we will look at Ikorodu, and if we're also able to do, because this government is celebrating 2 bus stop Blue Line, and we're celebrating today in Lagos, we should be talking about integrated rail line system, Shehu. Integrated in the sense that what will bring you from Ikorodu intersects in Ikeja. If you are going to Songo and this thing, follow your way. If you are going to the island, follow. So we have over 36 water routes in this Lagos that we have not explored. If you are going to Badagry from Ikorodu, you don't have business on the road. What you need to do is go on ferry. Before you know it, under 45 minutes, you'll be there and spending.
All right, Mr. Adediro, so let's bring this conversation home. I have 2 quick questions for you so that we can wrap up. And this is in the interest of the Lagos State workforce, the public workers in Lagos. The national minimum wage is 30,000. Lagos raised its own minimum wage to 35,000. Considering the inflation rate in the country and in the city of Lagos and the standard of living in that city, do you think that the people of Lagos or the workers deserve more than that? And what do you estimate that could be?
Sheung, it's not about what I think. It's about what I want to say to citizens of Lagos. Me, as their governor, we make sure their minimum wage is 60,000 naira. You know why? If Edo State that is not generating 1/4 of what we generate is paying 40,000, why would Lagos State be doing 35,000?
How soon can this happen? Should he be elected?
Immediately we get into the office. That will be one of the first executive order that I'm going to sign into. I'm going to sign to raise and give them living wage, 60,000 naira for civil servants in Lagos as living wage. They can hold me on this one. Secondly, we have some parastatals in the state of Lagos, like Lagos Internal Revenue Service, like the health, and of these essential services. We shouldn't be talking. Everybody should want to come to Lagos to work, not that our own people taking flight, going anywhere in the name of brain drain. We are going to treat them specially to ensure that it's an essential services. We need you every time.
Yeah,
and
we need to close now, Mr. Adediran. Lagos says has 37 LCDs, 20 LGAs. I wanted to know what you make of that. Maybe you make an official proposal to Parliament, to the legislature in the National Assembly to regularize that, just like you have 40 local governments in some states. But maybe that's another conversation for another day.
No. Let me quickly
because we need to go now.
I need to drop this. Sorry, I need to drop this. You can see the hypocrisy of the current administration. When PDP was in power at the center, they were saying, oh, we created local governments and they were not regularizing them for us. But they were in power for 8 years with Speaker, House of Reps coming from Lagos. They've not been able to regularize that and to make it, a substantive local government. I'm saying that when I come into office, I will take the federal government of Nigeria to court of competent jurisdiction to give us the true definition of true federalism.
All right.
And I guess power as
we do not have time again, but my final question is actually to ask you, there are talks about you aligning with Agbero-Free Rhodes-Vivour into this election, maybe you stepping aside in some way or himself. I mean, do you have any agreement with the Labour Party's candidate?
Let me speak to this. When we started this project years back, it is beyond wanting to be governor. If it's just to be governor, I could be governor where I was coming from, but I chose this route. So when this issue of thoughts, we're flying around, even though we haven't sat together to discuss it, we call ourselves to look at the issue and say, hey, within us guys, what do we want to do? We want to put an end to a dynasty that has held us in Jubilee for over 2 decades. Where do we go from here? And we decide to analyze every issue critically. Then we now discover that, okay, the Labour Party candidate still has a case on his candidacy, which is currently at the Supreme Court. We looked at it again, that the Labour Party candidate also has an issue with Section 77 of the Electoral Act, which says if you're leaving a particular party to another one, you must have been there at least for 1 month. INEC would have published the party register would have been in INEC 30 days before that primaries. All of these are not there. And these are issues that can come up in a post-election, litigation. So rather than sitting on a keg of gunpowder, for us, we don't have a problem. We would have said, okay, go, let's just take this government. But looking at that, knowing fully well that who we are dealing with, we know the kind of character that we are dealing with. We know what can happen.
All right, Jide, we're totally out of time.
There's no point sitting on the keg of gunpowder.
Right.
So for us, we want alliance. We don't have any issue with it, but we must put our best foot forward.
Thank you so much indeed.
We must make sure that we go into this alliance without any snag or whatsoever.
All right.
This is what we stand for.
Jide Adediran, popularly called Jandor, the governorship candidate of the PDP in the governorship race. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. Earlier on, we were speaking with Agbero-Free Rhodes-Vivour, the candidate of the Labour Party. Unfortunately, the network didn't allow us to have as much conversation as we should have. But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. Tomorrow is yet another one we'll be bringing to you. Don't miss it. I'll see you tomorrow at 7. Bye for now.